Hello children, today we will start with the lesson Applied History. Now what is Applied History? Applied History is concerned with the application of history. Application of history for the benefit of people in the current and in future times. The knowledge of history helps in finding solutions to current social, economical, political problems. And this information can be added in social, economical and political planning. What is applied history and public history? Applied history is also known as public history. Now children, lot of times history is usually seen as a field only for historians or for students who want to pursue higher studies in this subject. They do not see any practical use for history. They do not see how it can be applied to be economically productive. Public history helps to overcome such misconceptions and makes history meaningful in everyday life. There are many universities abroad where various courses in public history are offered. Now, Shruti Institute of Art Design was established in 1996 by Ujjwal Trust in Bangalore, India. Now, it has an independent department named Center for Public History to take up projects and research in public history. Applied history and research in various fields. Now, what is history? History is about past events. Now, a present life is a result of the historical chain of events. Historical events related to various fields like politics, social and religious structure of a community, philosophy, technology, science, etc. Now, the direction of future development in every field is dependent on the state of available knowledge. Now, what do we mean by this, dependent on the state of available knowledge? For example, if you are studying English language, okay, in English, what is the first thing we study? We study our alphabets, A, B, C, D, right? That is the first thing we study. On the basis of these 26 alphabets, we learn how to read, right? We learn how to pronounce, we learn what are vowels, what are consonants. But what is the basic thing that we study first in English language? We study A, B, C, D. So this A, B, C, D is our base. And keeping this base, we study grammar, we study composition, we learn how to write, how to read, correct? So in the same way, in development of any field, whether it is law, whether it is medicine, whether it is technology, first there has to be a base. So this base we get from history. Philosophy. History of philosophy helps in understanding the origin of various ideologies, the intellectual traditions giving rise to those ideologies, and the historical development. Knowledge of history of language is useful to understand philosophical expression. Now, for example, if you see any religion, their holy texts, their books, it starts with how that particular religion or philosophy was founded, how everything in their religion started, how it originated, and from the time of its foundation, how did it change over the course of years? All this is studied. Now, here, why do you say that knowledge of history of language is important and useful? Because the language that we use today or the language that you use now was not necessarily the language that was used at the time this philosophy or this idea or ideology developed. Maybe at that point of time they were used to some different language. Maybe Sanskrit, maybe Arabic, maybe Aramaic. So that is why the history of language is important, because language also has to be studied. In order to understand that ideology, we have to understand what are they trying to say. How will we know what they are trying to say? We have to learn that language, right? For example, if you're talking to your granny, okay? Now your granny, the only language she knows is Marathi. To understand what she is trying to say, you have to first learn Marathi, right? Same way, to understand ideologies, you have to understand the language. And how will you understand language? You have to be aware of the history of language. Science. The history of science helps in understanding the chronological order of scientific discoveries, inventions, and theories. It helps to understand the cause-effect chain that led to those discoveries and inventions. It helps in understanding the factors that facilitated a scientific discovery or information, and also its chronology. Now, it is said that need is the mother of inventions. Whatever scientific discoveries or inventions have been made are because of some need that had to be fulfilled. Now, whatever efforts are made in scientific discoveries, they are based on already available knowledge. Using this knowledge, more discoveries are made. Technology. The history of technology helps in understanding the changes and the cause of these changes in the field of agricultural production, commodity production, architecture, engineering, etc. There is mutual dependence between science and technology. The advancement of science promoted the mechanization of production. Now, if we see the example of agricultural production, in earlier times, people used to plow the fields themselves. Then they started using animal power, or they used animals to plow the field. Today they are using machines to do this plowing for them. So because the technology has developed, it has made this process of plowing easier. Okay, so because there was this need to make things better, people discovered different options. And that is why we say that need is the mother of inventions. Here we are also saying that there is a mutual dependence between science and technology. So because of scientific discoveries, we have used these discoveries in order to create new technology. For example, if you see in production of different fabrics, in the textile industry, initially everything was done by hand. We had handlooms. Because machines were invented, because of this invention, the whole production process was mechanized, or we can say we started using machines to create these fabrics. So there is a mutual dependence between science and technology. Because a discovery happened, using that discovery we have created a new machine or a new technology. Another example we can say is there is a scientist, or there was a scientist, Michael Faraday. Now Michael Faraday, he founded something called the induction motor. which converted electrical current into continuous mechanical motion. Now, using this induction motor, a number of other different products like fans, air conditioning, sewing machines, photographs, etc. were created. So, there was a base knowledge of this induction motor, and using this base knowledge of induction motor, other products or other objects were created.